let's leave aside the commercial and trade treaties and conventions and focus on those relating to human rights, the subject of today's paper. Australia is a party to the 7 key international human rights treaties. We have signed and ratified the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman or Degrading Treatment of Punishment, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women, and the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. International law recognised the rights of the international community to establish tribunals done up until that time on an ad hoc basis to investigate and to deal with gross violations of international law.
This is an area where that we are engaged in dialogue since that Sri Lankan legislature is now converted to a constitutional assembly. And especially this area has to be covered when we have to formulate a system for electoral reforms as to how that we can preserve the political rights of each and every community in Sri Lanka has to be taken into consideration on this aspect, and it's a very vital and important subject for us during this period.
Any treaty ratified as well as customary international law have immediate legal effect as domestic law, without any incorporating legislation. That's our jurisdiction. There's a good aspect and bad aspect. A good aspect is there is no need for incorporating legislation to implement international law. For the Treaty of the Human Rights, that's a good aspect because you can refer to the international treaty in court as a source of domestic law.
For last 20 years, if you bring all the refugees came into Australia, you can't feel the half of the MCG. But still, you all take it as a serious issue in Australian politics. What are the moving factor in the minds of the Australian people? Is it because fear psychosis or xenophobia or what? Because it's really formatting your political formation in international law.
And as to what, but it is true, and as we see the issues now through the Middle East and Europe, to me, but not to a lot of people, I guess, it is frightening that some of those countries are pointing to Australia and saying, look, this system works, don't let anybody in, which I think is thoroughly, I'd like to say unchristian, but also just contrary to international human rights. The Australian people, I think, are quite deeply divided on this. There are many who have a fear of losing their own identity, losing the identity of what it means to be Australian, and there is a fear that could happen if there is not control over who comes and settles in Australia.
We always consider the human rights law guaranteed by the international is superior. So my question is whether there are any local constitutional human rights law which can be regarded as superior to the laws that is recommended by the international human rights law.
We have a refugee recognition law, and I'm a review board of the Ministry of Justice to deal with refugee applications. But we can only rely on the conventions, and similar to the domestic legislation, very similar to the convention. So there is no space to rescue them if you are interpreting the convention.
Whether there can be some process of either mediation or conciliation, rather than the first step being going into courts. But in very extreme cases of incitement to hate and leading almost to violence, such as the Anudgam incident, my view is that the state is under a duty to take action, to prosecute the offenders.